Dolph Lundgren as Frank Castle the Punisher. Louis Gossett Jr. as Detective Jake Berkowitz. Nancy Everhart as Detective Sam Leary. Jerome Crabb as Gianni Franco. Director Mark Goldblatt bring you What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another Hi-Fi Stereo movie review. And as you've seen from the title, I'm talking about The Punisher today, from 1989, with Dolph Lundgren in the starring role as I guess you'd call him an anti-hero, Frank Castle the Punisher, right? Also, Lou Gossett Jr. Is in it with him. Now, they worked well together. To me, they had a good, they fed off good with each other. There was a good chemistry between them. You kind of had a feeling, and it was believable that, you know, they were partners at one point. Just, you know, the few times that they are on screen together. But yeah, if you just like a no nonsense no nonsense, no BS, just straightforward action movie, you want to have some popcorn, a great popcorn movie, have some fun, and, you know, realize it's a movie, it's not reality, grounded in reality and that sort of thing, then I think this movie could be for you. Now, of course, I am, of course, this is my VHS copy. This is also one of the few movies I do have on DVD as well. So I actually got the DVD. I seen it. I was in my local Goodwill, okay, and they had it for like $2. So it's like $2 on DVD, and it was like very good condition. So it's like I couldn't resist. I couldn't pass it up. Too good of a, you know, it's like too good of a movie for me. It's like one of my favorite movies. It did make my top 100 movies of all time. So yeah, I got a VHS and DVD. Now, of course, I also have the game on for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Ready, aim, punish. The Punisher for Nintendo. Explosive arcade action. State-of-the-art weapon. Got the guts. The Punisher for Nintendo from LJN. Everything's a target. Even you.
And then also some comics here. So yeah, I'm a fan of the Punisher. Yeah, I just also realized this comic here is where they got the image art for the NES game. So Dolph Lundgren as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, right? In case you don't know the background, you know, he was a police detective. But his family was killed. His wife and kids were killed, and so therefore that sent him over the edge, and he went on he basically became a one-man army, and taking justice and the law into his own hands, basically becoming a vigilante, right? Whacking out wise guys like he's got a hunting license, you know. So in the movie, right, his partner is, you know, so the movie starts out basically 5 years after his family was killed. So his partner has been looking for him for 5 years. Now,
this board here?
Yeah.
I've been living with this board for 5 years. Every time he kills somebody, I put a red pin in it. I find two.
Frank Castle was declared dead, right? Thought to be dead, so it was kind of a closed case. But his partner was like one of the few people that believed he was still alive, and he was the Punisher, you know. But yeah, this movie's got a lot of good action in it. You know, all kinds of different guns and explosions and knives and. You know, it's like, but at the same time, there is a part of the movie where it shows, you know, as grizzled and hard and grizzled as Frank is, he does still have a soft side for kids, okay? Because, you know, he had 2 kids himself, you know, who were killed. So
I'm here to take you home.
he actually ends up helping basically helping his enemy, because you know his sworn enemy for a long time has kids, or has a son, and his son's been kidnapped. Okay, so there's all kinds of there's this triangle between maybe I should say a square, right? But you have Frank, the Punisher, and the mob bosses that was responsible for his family's death. Then you have his ex-partner, Detective Berkowitz, looking for him, chasing him, trying to find him. And then you have the mob bosses, right? But then, as a twist in this movie, the Japanese mafia is also thrown into the mix. So he's got to deal with that too. So, and even though there are some slow times in this movie, it really never feels that way. It's you never feel like you ever watch some movies where it's it's slow, they're just talking or whatever, and you just feel like this. You're like, come on. It's come on, get to it here. But this movie really never feels that way. Even in the slow times, it feels like they're giving you information that's relevant to the story and events that's either happened or it's going to be happening, right? So, but as grizzled and as a character as the Punisher is, as far as revenge is his one motivation, he does show he's got some heart where does have a soft spot for kids, because like I said, it shows him looking at a picture of his 2 kids, and of course he misses them very much, and you see that just a little bit in the movie, right? So yeah, he basically kind of lives underground, right, in the sewers, so he can he has even though he's lives like that, he still has kind of high tech. He's obviously, of course, very has all kinds of weapons. But even though he also is of course has surveillance gear where he can listen into conversations of the criminals and the mob bosses, that sort of thing. So it's kind of cool. I recommend this movie. I give it 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up. Okay. I'm sure Siskel and Ebert probably didn't. The movie starts out with a good, cool action scene, right? I mean, this movie don't take long for the action to kick in, and that's what I liked about it.
Jesus. Joey.
the cool things. I like movies that's like, you know, right off the start, it's like, hey, let's start off with a bang, you know. No pun intended there, but you know, he's motivated by revenge. You know, he wants, basically, he was fed up with the system. Okay, the system, basically, he felt the system failed him and his family, and so that's part of the reason he took justice and took the law into his own hand and became a vigilante, basically, right? So he's basically waged a one-man war against crime. And he has no intention of stopping until he gets them all, right? At one point in the movie, the guy responsible for his family dying, you know, said, you know, there's a limit to revenge. And he's like, well, I guess I haven't reached mine yet, you know? So it's like, the fire burns in him, you know? He's still got that fire. He's got a fire in him, so. Yeah, this movie is pretty cool. It's not polished by any means. It's pretty gritty. It's pretty grounded, you know. It's got good action, good sound effects even. I would say. I dig it. And I will pick this one up and watch it. You know, from time to time, maybe once a year or so. You know, when movies are like that, where we can rewatch them, and even though you've seen it many times and have it memorized, but yet you still enjoy it every time you watch it, that's a great movie, right? That's a great movie in my book, right? But yeah, in this movie, he does like go through a lot. I mean, he's got the mob bosses he's dealing with. He's got the mob people he's dealing with and trying to take out. Of course, he's got to keep a low profile so we don't get captured by the police. He's got the Japanese mafia coming in here, the Yakuza. Then they throw in like where he's got to try to help and save these kids from the Japanese. It's like he goes through a lot in this movie, so it's like, man, you really feel for him at one point. It's like, man, how much more can he take, right? But yeah, Dolph Lundgren does a great job as the Punisher. You know, I'm a big fan of his, especially his older movies. You know, of course, you know, Rocky IV, Masters of the Universe, Red Scorpion, Universal Soldier, Showdown in Little Tokyo, I Come in Peace. Like, Dolph in the 80s and 90s, I like his movies, you know. I mean, he's still doing movies today. I would say they're probably not as good as those older ones, you know, for me personally. But he's still going strong today even. He's still cranking out movies. And there is a moment where he has with the mob boss's son at the end, where it is kind of a heartfelt, touching, where he's like, you know, you're a good boy, you know, grow up to be a good man, right? Basically, because if not, he'll be waiting, you know, sort of thing. So it's kind of a nice send off there. You know, this movie didn't win any awards, no Oscars, no Academy Awards, and then nothing like that. But and honestly, a lot of times the movies that win those awards, they're not my kind of movies. It's like The Notebook or something like that, right? But I give it 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up. It's a pretty cool, awesome action movie, right? And the runtime's only 92 minutes. That's a cool thing about like a lot of the older movies. It's like they didn't go crazy. It's like I prefer a movie to be less than 2 hours. It's like when it gets 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you know, approaching 3 hours. You know, some of these newer movies, it's like, man, if you can't say what you want to, if you can't say and do what you want to do in 2 hours or less, and I don't know, maybe you're in the wrong business. I mean, it's like people don't want to just, like, you know, your attention span, right? You know, you need to keep the audience engaged and interested, and it's like, yeah, get it. 2 hours. Like that to me, that's like that's like the cutoff point. Very few, with it. That's my ideal movie. Like this is an hour and a half. That's great. I remember even Cobra with Sylvester Stallone was like maybe only like an hour and 20 minutes. So something like that. So I was like, yeah, very nice pace. I like that. I don't want this 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie stuff. That's why I still haven't watched The Godfather Part 2 and 3. I watched the first one. I did that one. Because it's like 3 hours or more. So, anyways, The Punisher for Dolph Lundgren and Lou Gossett Jr. Give me your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Have you seen this movie? Are you familiar with it? Have you heard of it? If not, check it out. I highly recommend it. There's some cool screenshots on the back. It's cool how they split the pictures up there, like made it have a very different look there. But yeah, The Punisher is an awesome, cool movie, and I will say, you can't always go by what it says on Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. Those are a lot of the people in there. Their idea of a good movie is like all these Captain Marvel movies or the stuff that's going on nowadays, right? And it's definitely not polished, okay, by any means. And I actually dig that. To me, it's actually a charm of the movie.
I punish the guilty. Which way? Not that way.
Can't say enough good things about it. It's about like they did a good job. The runtime's great. The action's great. It's very nicely paced, and they don't bore you to death with like a bunch of useless information, right? So can't recommend it enough. It's available on all the physical media, VHS, DVD, Laserdisc, Blu-ray, and of course you can stream it anywhere, right? I'm sure you can find it streaming somewhere. But that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed this Hi-Fi Stereo movie review of The Punisher, my favorite Punisher movie. So leave me some comments below and tell me your thoughts on it, if you enjoyed it, or if you hated it, because, maybe you like the other Punisher movies better. Personally, for me, this is my favorite Punisher movie, right? And it probably always will be, because who knows if they'll ever make one again, or if and when they will, right? It's actually the only one I have. I don't have the other two. But that's going to do it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. But if this is your first time to the channel, tap the subscribe button down there, then the bell next to it, ding ding. And that way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. So until next time, guys, keep it retro. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another episode